we have our very own ideation expert here at Homa, and we are going to go through some AI tools that you can use to create game ideas. Who is pumped for that? Is anyone still here? Do let me know in that chat. Say hello, get your questions in. You can definitely ask us with a Q colon, and that means that I will do my best not to miss it. But without further delay, I am going to bring on Georges here, who is going to tell us a little bit about. Well, first of all, let's welcome him on in. So, Georges, how you doing?
Very good, thank you, Kevin. Nice to be
Excellent.
here, actually.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good.
been super fun so far, and I've been really excited for the and all of them. But this one for me, I think is going to be super interesting to people because game ideas, we know it's difficult to come
Yeah.
up with ideas. But before we go into the meat and the bones and all of it, let's hear about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Homer.
Yeah, so I joined Homa in December, so it's been about 3 months. I'm the ideation expert, which means basically that I'm working with the publishing team and building ideas around my vision of the market and giving those ideas to publishing managers when they either need it or where I want to push those ideas because I think they're valuable. And they will then work with the studio and bring those ideas to the market and to the store and test them over and over.
That's
Uh,
incredible.
it depends on the quantity that I give them, but uh, with the help of AI and with the help of any modern data collection software, we are able to produce ideas in a big quantity that is enough to share with all of the members and with all of the studios also.
That's amazing. So I got the one question before you get into it. Well, no, it's
Yeah,
a one question but two parts. A, have you got the best job in the world? And B, do you have the hardest job in the world?
I think I think I can say yes for both. It's very tough, but it's very rewarding because ideas are really one of the most sensitive parts of game building because it can fail or it can break or it can turn the game into a fantastic piece of art in that part of the process stage. So I think it's very rewarding, but it's very tough also. Yeah, I
Perfect
agree.
answer, sir. Okay, I can see some of the questions coming in already. Without further delay, George, let's get into your presentation because I'm busting to see it and I know everyone else is.
Yeah,
So
let's
I'm
do
going to
it.
hand it over to you.
So I'm gonna first start to present my ideation process here at Homa. I do start with the market research. I think this is the unskippable step, to be honest, because when it comes to data collection and trend detection, you can really see there in that first process what's been working in the market and what are other people trying, and you wanna you wanna take a closer look at that and see where you can go from there and what you should avoid also. In this phase, I would collect top chart information, demographics, competitor analysis, and prototyping trends all over the market, so I can guide myself into the brainstorm stage that goes in the third stage, I'd say. But as a second step, I would also do some reference checks to see which ideas have been created. So, for example, if I see there's a particular trend being prototyped in this week, I will definitely need to see if this idea has been created in in a number of ways by other studios or other publishers, so I don't just build the same product as them. So there's a lot of reference check that I do, and in this process is also where I use ChatGPT or Ludo or any of the other tools that I'm presenting next. It's because it can come up with new themes and genres in just a blink of an eye, which is really interesting and really valuable for us to save us time. Um, so on the third step, I would actually start into a brainstorm on my own or with a colleague here in the publishing team, where the first part will be um, ideating around ideas that were pre-made before the brainstorm. So ideas either from the trends or ideas that we came up ourselves just by uh, either seeing social media videos that were really viral or any other kind uh, of source that could really inspire us into building a valid idea in today's market. So in this first 30 minutes, I'd say we sketch the idea into a very basic mockup. We will discuss about it, iterate it, merge it with other genres, see all we can do with it, so that at the end we can have a synthesis of what the idea would look like if we were about to produce it. And on the last 30 minutes of this meeting, I would say that we'll try to build ideas from scratch, also based on the collection of the first stage. And in this stage, we also will do the same exercise. We'll do live sketches, we will live discussions, we'll try to merge it. And I think this is where the magic happens, really. And this is also where AI can help a lot if you do the previous homework on the reference check step. Next, we would collect all of the ideas that we built and go into a validation stage just to see if they can adapt to the market, to see if they have been prototyped in the stores, and to see if there's a twist that we can do to the idea if it's already created. Otherwise, we kill the ones that are already done and they have no chance of survival. Um, Now I'm going to present how I use myself the AI in ideation. I first am going to start with the do's, which I think are really one of the most important things. So, for example, I would use AI to come up with an idea that I uh, thought that I pre brought to the bot. For example, I would put an idea structure, and I try to educate the AI to make it generate an idea. So I wouldn't just ask him to build an idea out of a runner, let's say. I will show him what a runner is. I would show my ideation process and structure first, and then I would come with a result that I think that will be satisfying and extract things from it. Um, I would also try to expand on the list of themes. I will try to know more about those themes and how they work in real life or in a fictional context, because the bot has a really good imagination. You can ask him to be as creative as he can. So that's really interesting to take pick examples within, let's say, a list of 100 themes or of many you asked them. I think this is a very important step, which is identifying missing elements in the core loop. For example, you might have an idea that already has the character, it already has the world built, it already has what are the obstacles and the enemies, but you're missing a sort of iteration between the character and the world, or with the character and with the enemy. You might not want just to shoot him or to attack him. You might want to just build a fishing game, for example. Oh, I have this in this example here, where, for example, I have a fishing game that I want to merge the rods and then pick up fish. So I asked the bot to give me elements that could interact between the fishing role and the fish. So here, for example, it gave me fishing line durability. So this was quite interesting. I was not expecting. I didn't thought it at first, but in the end, it really helped me to bring a whole new perspective and mechanic to the game that really push it forward. And then for last, I would investigate just core loops that exist in real life or nature or in professions that could apply to your base idea. Uh, just a little point on the don'ts. This is my personal experience with the tool, and I found that if I ask simply to come up with a mobile game idea, it won't never be good. It rarely is. So for example, I asked to mix Skyroller and Z Escape, and it gave me Skyroller being chased by aliens. So this is one of the examples that I'm saying. So if you try to mix just the two, it will really give you this kind of ideas. Also, if you try to pick one game and you just try to vary the existing idea, it would just pick the existing idea and will just give it a different character with the same core loop. This is something that here at Homa we're trying more to avoid. We're trying really to build new experiences and to iterate and give twists to games. So I think this is a don't when using AI, because it's going to give you the same game just with a different team. And simply don't ask AI to merge two existing games, because the AI's reach is really limited. For example, ChatGPT goes up to 2021, So the knowledge is really limited. They don't know what, for example, a tag hole is. So it will pick up another game that was called in the past a tag hole, and this will give just a mess in terms of results. The tools that I use, uh, first and foremost, ChatGPT 3 to build the idea in terms of structure, themes, exploration, research. Ludo AI is a tool that also could be very useful, for example, for image generation, also for the idea generation, and to also to search for mechanics to introduce into your game. I will show you later. And Notion AI, just for some that have access to it, they also have this capability. I've tried it myself. Despite not being as strong as ChatGPT 3, if this is your only option, this actually can be reliable in some sorts of situations when building a game idea. For mockups and for, I'd say, building art styles and building screenshots that could illustrate your idea to give to your studio or to your peers if you are a studio, I think Midjourney gives the best results of these three. Ludo AI also creates this and gives you decent results. And DALI, I'd say, if you're looking for a more realistic approach, it is the best out of the three. But if you're looking for a more Unity 3D style, I wouldn't recommend it as much as the other two. The output of the game idea at the end, it will look something like this. The pitch will be just a line description, the screen composition where the action layout is described, where the assets will be positioned on the screen, and the art style and so on. The core mechanics I would differentiate from the core loop because it really shows you the controls, interactions, and the play progression. The core loop would say it's more the cycle of what you're playing, and you clearly know your objectives, rewards, and challenges. And at the end, just to clear, I would emphasize the visual satisfaction elements that you have in your idea, the important details when developing that idea, and also any other meta features, achievements, or alternative loops that you have in mind. Not forgetting the references, of course, which are so important. For example, you can have from 2 to 4 to really show your colleagues or the studio working with that this is what you want the game to look like, and you want this to be as close as possible. And now I will I will do a live demo on ChatGPT that I hope it's going to be clear for all of you.
Yeah, that's
If you have a,
that's pretty awesome. I love it. So we're going to do a live session now where George is going to walk you through how he uses it, and I think it's really important. So if you've got any questions, please do get them in, and we can answer. George is here now as our in-house ideation expert to answer any questions you've got about game ideas. I want to do a couple of takeaways just before you go through live with ChatGPT
yeah, of
with
course.
everyone, George. Um, I think the upshot I got a lot from, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's all to do with what you feed the AI engines, right? And I think it
Yeah.
was really interesting about your fisherman example where it said, you know, the durability of the fishing line came up, and that's the power of these things. That is sort of a left field idea, and all of a sudden, oh, now I'm thinking about can we use rope as a fishing line or a chain? Is that an upgradable part of the game? What would be your tips? I know you went through a lot of the slides there, and thank you for that. And we'll have copies of that inside the academy shortly. But what's your sort of go to tips? You know, your top three tips for anyone maybe new to ChatGPT or whatever AI engine you want to use. What's your
Mhm.
overarching tips here?
I think number one will be really to have a conversation with the chat where you explore step by step the production of what you need. For example, if you're in need of mechanics, like I did on the example of the merging fishing poles, uh, I would say you would need to ask the chat to give you a list of things. So, for example, give me a list of 20 or 10 within these mechanics, within these themes that I'm working on, and it will produce to you, let's say, the 20 list, and within that 20 list of items, you'll certainly look for one that will pop into your eye, like I saw it on there. That's really my day to day. I use it for that. I And then from
once it gives me what I want, I try to kind of explore from there. I say, okay, so what will be an interesting gameplay if I mix my theme with your mechanic that you provided? And then if it looks good, the result, I would actually use it and bring it to the brainstorm and discuss with my colleagues. If it's not good enough, I will continue to have a conversation with the bot until I find another set of lists of things that I like. So if you keep asking, it will keep giving you until the point that will repeat itself. Once it hits that point, I would try to go to another approach. I'll try to instead of asking for new mechanics, I will try to maybe pick my theme and ask for another set of I will use another name instead of mechanic, but I will use, for example, what is in real life a thing that I could use to get fish that, for example, would be beneficial to a fisherman. For example, I will use a different nomenclature, I'd say, because it replies differently to the kind of words that you use with it.
Got
I
you.
see
So
that's number one.
it was really interesting hearing you say it like that. So, do you think you should almost approach it of like being really simplistic? So, show me a gold plate that has a black microphone that jumps in the air, like that, like a 5-year old would type in, and the more specific you
Yeah.
get, the more interesting results you get, or the more defined results, or is it a mixture of the both?
For me, it's the more specific you get, and more at the same time, you need to be really simplistic on how you talk with it. So if you say that description that you just said, it will give you an idea around that and will build its own thought. But you really need to be specific. For example, if you say, I want a gold plate with a microphone on top, it will need to say first, um, give me a description in this structure that will respect this other structure. For example, the game scenario, then the core loop. You need to structure the way you talk with it. I will show you in the live example. I
Yeah,
think
and
we'll
we'll
be
get
much more
yeah,
clear.
perfect. Sorry to talk over you there. Yeah, and I think that's going to be really
No
helpful for
worries.
people. Certainly for me as well, because I kind of get it, but I know your experience here is invaluable for people. Questions come in which is not directly related to AI, but I want to address it because we do answer every question here. Is the hyper casual market oversaturated or overcrowded in 2023? I'll take a stab at that, and of course, yes, there are elements of oversaturation. We've known that over the last 18 months, especially. It's a lot harder than it used to be. But this is the beauty of why George is here to come up with game ideas to twist it. Casual and hyper casual games. Hyper casual, in essence, has been around since the App Store began. There will always be an appetite for snackable games. What the market really shows is that if you do the same thing that we've all seen before, it's probably not going to do very well. So you need to come up with interesting new ideas and apply all the hyper casual fundamentals to it. And then, as you can see, with Attack Hull that's crushing the charts and has been all year at this point, two concepts, older concepts, merged together with a new twist, and that is absolutely smashing it. George, I'm going to pass over to you now, and I am super looking forward to this one. So let's have a look at how you use these.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we're in ChatGPT, obviously, uh, and I think I'm going with the basics here. I'm trying to build a runner, but I don't know what that runner will be. So let's ask the chat. So for example, I will ask it to build a level up runner, which is something that came up recently. For example, just a subgenre of hyper casual that you pick stuff and you level up, and then you can go through gates, or you can usually also eat other characters that look the same as you, and you can also I'm going to describe it first to the chat. I'm describing to you the audience, but I will describe it to the chat. So there is this genre called level up runner uh, in hyper casual. You have a character that will hit characters which have a lower level than you, in order to level up. And you can also go through 8 to be more stronger. For example, here I'm just describing the very simple genre to ChatGPT, but my real goal here is to pick up a theme that I think might be interesting because I don't really know. This thing has been worked on for this genre has been worked on for so long that it has endless themes being worked on. So let's try and ask it to see if there's a genre or there's a different theme or topic that it can give us that we thought is new or not. So for example, I'm going to ask you for give me a list of 20 things that can evolve and give me a description of their evolution. Then from when I want to ask this, I will always ask him for the structure. So please give me in this structure one line, one point, thing, and existing evolutions. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's giving us coins, power-ups, enemies. So it's not being very specific. So what I will do in this case will be that I would stop the generation if it's not interesting enough, and then I would really ask him if, for example, give me a list of 20 things that can evolve and show me their evolution in this structure. One point existing evolution. So it's not giving me what I want now. So I'll try a new chat. Sorry for this. I'll just copy what I wrote previously. And then I'll paste it here. And then let's see if it gives me what I want. These things happen on ChatGPT. It's such a new tool and it's getting updates every time. So it's still giving me the new. So I can also, what I can do also is go here and edit what I read previously and write it in a new way. So for example, I'll put it, give me a list of 30 things that go through evolution. As I said, you can really need to change the wording. And now I'll put it brief. For the revolution, please give me in this structure. Save and submit. Okay, so now you see here that just by changing a little bit the wording, it already giving me things that are much more interesting to use in the runner. For example, it's giving me fish, dinosaurs, insects, birds, plants, monkeys, dogs. So something that actually can run and much more relatable to the mass audience. I'm gonna stop now because I saw here one that I think I'm gonna go with plants because I haven't seen a lot of plant runners, I'd say. So let's see what he comes up with. So I'd say I like the plant theme. And then once I have this theme here, I would pick up the output that I have on my slides, which I have here written, and I will copy it to the chat, for example, and I will do this. I like the plant theme. Could you build a game? Could you build a level up game idea in this structure. And I'll copy here the output that I have on my slides, which is just screen composition, again, core mechanics, core loop, and satisfaction and focus, and the extras. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, I'm gonna stop it now because I forgot one thing. I forgot that I wanted to make it 3D. So I'll go here. Could you build a level up game in this structure? But the game has to be in 3D and with a third person camera. And then I will save and submit. Okay, so in screen composition, we have, the game will have a forest environment. It shows you where you should display your characters and the assets, which is interesting. Sometimes it gives you really solid and defined positions for the assets. For example, top screen, left screen. In here, it's giving me just positions randomly. It happens from iteration. And core mechanics is the same. You'll control a small sapling, which have the ability to absorb water, nutrients from the soil, sun rays from the sky. Okay. This will allow to other plants to grow up, level up, and absorb the nutrients. Okay, this is pretty much the basis of what I described. So you absorb others that are lower level than you, and you will be able to grow from absorbing those nutrients. This is interesting. This I could take to a brainstorm session, and we see how we could actually iterate on that interaction of the trees and the nutrients and the sun and everything and all the elements. So and the game loop, as I also described, is pretty much consisting moving around the map, absorbing nutrients, and being mature by observing the nutrients from high level plants and ability to grow larger, etc., etc. This is really what a level up runner is. And from asking what the themes were, I could come up with the plant theme, which is, with this process here and with this structure that I put from the output, it's giving me a lot of elements that I will then bring to the brainstorm session and iterate on. So the main things here, I would say, it's the character, which is a sapling absorbing others, that I will use and think about how it could make it a little bit more interesting. The game loop, which is also interesting, I will also adapt it more to a runner. Here it says that it's more about running around the map. It could be also a runner in a map, but I will prefer that it will be in the platform, for example. The satisfaction and focus, just it tells me what in the development will be the more important thing to develop and to focus on. For example, the realistic movements of the saplings, the lush environments, and also the immersive environment in 3D. It also you can ask it for progression and for extras in terms of power-ups, customization, and achievements. But in the first phase, we'll be focusing on the core loop and core mechanics. And I think it gave us some pretty interesting things to work on that I will then pick up into production and just have brainstorms and really define what the core idea will be like. I hope you liked it and it was clear. I'm sorry if there was some errors happening during this, but I think in the end, this is something I could use into my ideation process and really build some game ideas out of it. And now I will be passing on to showing you a little bit of sample of what Ludo AI is for the ones who don't know it. Ludo is also an AI generative tool that will give you game generation and also image generation. For example, in Ludo, you could, let's say, pick up a game or a theme. This is the interesting part of it. So let's say Attack Hole by Homa Games. It actually should detect the game here. So you see Attack Hole, and you can merge it with any idea really. If you want to put, for example, plants, as we did for the last theme. Let's see what it gives us. So you can also, I forgot to say, but you can actually click the hyper-casual genre. So we'll create an idea that's more directed to the hyper-casual genre. Mobile art style, you can also choose. I'd put any style, but 3D, I think, gives you the best results. And the interesting part of this is that it creates already the image when you also build the idea, which is really cool. Uh, this is I don't use as much because you cannot talk with it and you cannot iterate on the ideas directly with the platform. But it does give you some interesting results. For example, a game where plants are armed with guns and shallow everything. Okay, that's unseen. So this is why it really gives you out of the box ideas that you wouldn't think of if you were just thinking by yourself. And the cool stuff is that it has an image to illustrate you. Beside this, it also has an image generator that if you want to design whatever you want, it works like Midjourney or the others, despite it not gives you as interesting results as Midjourney, for example. Um, and this is a free tool. There is a free trial also until 200 credits. Each generation is a credit, and then you have the basic free version, which is 20 credits. So it's a bit limited, but you can still do something. It's renewed every month. The good thing about ChatGPT is that it's free, and you can even upgrade it for $20 a month and have much faster results. So you can iterate much faster. So I think these are one of the most interesting options that we can use today for ideation in terms of building ideas. But I would love to hear what kind of tools do you use. Leave some comments to see some other tools that you use differently. I would love to see them.
Yeah, I think that's George. Firstly, oh my goodness, right? I'm going to have to pick up on a few bits there, which I think is really interesting. But yeah, as George just said, let us know if there's any tools that you use right now or considered using or used in the past. Be super, super interested to hear if there's something that you use that you find great. George, honestly, I would never have typed the structure in like that to ChatGPT at all, and I think it's really smart. And I'm going to steal that off you and put that inside the academy. So if you're seeing this on the replay within the next week or so, we're going to have this dedicated stream with George where he does all of that ChatGPT stuff for us. I'm going to get him to steal that structure so you can use that in your game ideas. I think you're, like I said, you're super brave typing out live like that. Um,
Oh,
I
I
actually,
knew what the danger were, but it's much better if you just see it in live than just in a presentation
of
because you
course,
have to iterate with it in real time.
you pulled it off for sure. The plant idea, I think, was really smart. You can definitely see, and I know you were talking about a runner, but that got my mind going. It's like more of an IO type game where you run
Yeah.
around and you become a bigger plant and you run through the sun rays and that boosts you up and then you transform like that. So I think this is what, and I think you said it, and it's the out of the box slash left field thinking that you just probably would never have got there. And it's kind of like having a whole ideation team in your pocket and into a brand office of 30 people coming up with random ideas. How important do you think this is going to be for solo developers, especially to leverage? And how do you think? Obviously, we've got Chat GDP 3.5 coming soon, where I
Yeah.
believe they tagged the neural engine or something with new data or something. Where do you see these tools going this year?
I think if it's as advertised, they will be so strong that you'll be able to just gather data from things that are happening in the App Store and Play Store and just build interesting concepts right from the bat, right from the app. For example, on ChatGPT, I think really that you will not be it will not be needed to put this kind of structures that I put in. For example, in this version of the ChatGPT, you will have something much more interesting. And for example, in image creation, you will have much more control, I'd assume, in terms of how the image looks. But by putting much more easier prompts, you wouldn't need to engineer it as much. So I assume everything is becoming much more intuitive. And as you asked, for solo developers, I think this will be really crucial for ideation, which takes so much time. And the solo developers, they have to develop, they have to ideate, they have to set up the art assets and do everything by themselves. So I think this and other tools in the market, not only for image creation and ideation, for sound effects, for game development within Unity, which I've seen some examples already, just by putting prompts, it would enlarge the number even of developers that are going to gaming. If you can use actually ChatGPT inside of Unity to do your own coding just by putting prompts. Imagine the possibilities and the number of prototypes that will be out there. It might have not been the best quality ones, but there will be a lot of ideas and a lot to explore with these capabilities.
This is just bonkers, isn't it? It's just
Yeah, it's
absolutely
crazy.
wild to me.
It's
And
just
yeah,
crazy.
the possibilities are pretty much endless. I want to pull it back in a little bit because a lot of us have our own techniques of looking at the charts and looking at other resources and stuff for ideation. And we got a whole ton of stuff inside the academy that gives you, I don't know, loads of different ways of doing it. I think it's looking at what you did there. I still think there's value in looking at the charts, of course, to be inspired by
Yeah.
things that are working within the market, to have that market validation. But the way I see this is that you could then say, oh, I think I've got a good idea, and then take it into chat. GGP, I always get that wrong. GGP, blah, blah, blah. Take it into the chat AI or one of the other tools, and then try and stretch that idea a little bit more to like think about exactly how maybe think of something you may not have considered. Do you think that's a fair use case?
Oh, absolutely. That's actually what I did with the live example. So I picked up on from the top charts the level up runners that were they were popular like I'd say a month ago or a few weeks ago. For example, there was just this game that I saw that I was eating other characters of the same type as me, and I was getting bigger and bigger, and I was dying whenever I was picking up just a bigger challenger than me. And this popped into my head: what if I can just get endless themes for this, and I can just endless iterations of possibilities into this genre, and then I can do the twist in the brainstorm, because I think ChatGPT shouldn't be used as much to do the twists. It can be used. You can also explore lists of twists that you can do to your own game, but in the end, it's gonna be from your discussion with your colleagues and your human interaction plus the help of the ChatGPT. It's really your assistant and your sidekick, I'd say.
Yeah, I like that, and it's like it's a tool for you to use, but it shouldn't
Yeah,
be the sole source of the idea, so to speak. And I think that's really
absolutely.
smart.
Yeah.
I like the ludo.ai. The links will be inside the academy when we post
Yeah.
this up for anyone who wants to know. Um, that one seemed a little bit more limiting, but I like the feature that you could take. Right, let's take a tack hole and merge it with Temple Run and see what happens, and it gives you
Yeah.
that visual. And for me, it was even the visual that was kind of inspiring. It's like, oh, there's something to that
Yeah.
image or something. What's the sort? And I don't want to give anything away, of course, but have you got any concrete game ideas that you've took forward or progressed with from ugh, Ludo.ai? Have you got some good results from that one?
I'm here just for a few months, of course, and I've tested some ideas, but most of them they came from Chat GPT.
Yeah.
They're still in testing because also besides that, the publishing managers also have their pipe of ideas, and I try to introduce mine into that pipe. So a lot of ideas are in test, but I could say yeah that ideas from Ludo I did build and they are on the pipe to be tested. There are ideas that are more towards the matching, I'd say. So matching things. I asked Ludo to give me a lot of twists and to merge a lot of matching games with popular themes that I thought could work. And Ludo really helped me. As you said, once I saw the image of what it generated, I could see exactly what the game it's going to be like. And that is real powerful. If only ChatGPT had that embedded into the app, oh, it would be amazing.
There you go. There's the next idea for some other new website to do. But yeah, that's what got me pumped because I'm super visual, and if I can see
Yeah,
something, I find it inspiring. And in collaboration with all the different tools, you've got a really powerful set of ideation data you can play with. And I think that's really smart. And of course, inside Homa Lab, I just have to mention that our partner studios get access to the ideas and the team come up with. So we've almost got, it's almost, think of it like the ideation shop, which is amazing. So that's just another reason so you could get yourself over and test some games with us. George, I want to kind of start wrapping it up today. It's been a long session and
yeah,
everyone, big shout to everyone who's still here, by the way. Give us a like if you've enjoyed this one today. and we'll twist George's arm to get him back on and do some more examples for us. What's the biggest takeaways? What's the biggest one single piece of advice? And I know you've done all the slides and we talk a bit about this, but I want to leave everyone with one single, like the thing you wish you'd have known that you figured out relatively early on, that don't do it like this, do it like that. What's the one thing?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to do it without repeating myself, but just utilizing the power of wording and how you communicate. It's really the key. It's actually the key in real life when you're working, also when talking with other people. But when talking and working with AI in ideation is choose your wording carefully, be as specific and as accurate as possible when you want something to be described to you, and use AI not as a source of ideas for games, but as a source of endless themes and endless crossings of themes and genres, and pick that and bring into your ideation. Don't ever discard the ideation phase. Don't ever discard the marketing research phase. Uh, and the brainstorm for me is where the magic happens, as I said. So do your homework in terms of AI and how you use it, and also link it with your market research, and you will get great results.
Very cool, and I think that is wise words indeed. Yeah, don't throw everything that you already know about your ideation out the window. Like George, it seems like a long time ago, but that first slide, and we will have the slides inside the academy for you in a week or so, probably sooner. Um, Go back and revert to that, because it's super important that you want to make sure that it's been proven in the market and you've got a really strong idea all round. A couple of things just come in. Big up to thanks, James, as well, for your nice comments today, and everyone who's had their comments today. Nervisha asks, can I know about the site that you generated the 3D game plants on?
Oh yeah, it's called Ludo.ai.
Oh,
I don't know.
wicked.
Do you want me to share it again?
Ludo.no. I should be able to share it in the chat there. You should
Okay,
see that come up in a moment.
there you
So
go.
Ludo is in the game. Yeah, is in the game.ai. Please share the structure you provided in chat GPT. Yeah, we will do that. I'm going to steal that off
Yeah.
George. And once we repost this up in the academy, you can have, we'll have a downloadable file that you can copy and paste and put that into the search for yourself, and obviously change it around to suit your needs. But yeah, just there's a link under the description here. Go and get yourself over inside the academy, and it will be in there shortly. George,
Thank you so
that's going to
much.
go
It
and
has been
wrap
a
it up
blast.
for us today. Thank you so much for all your time. Thank you being so brave for typing all that stuff out. I would have made
No
such a
worries.
fumble of that, even more than normal. It would have been horrendous. But appreciate everything you share with us today. I think it's a fascinating thing, and that's going to go and wrap it up. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to pop on here just to say goodbye to everybody else. But for now, George, see you later, and thanks for
Yeah.
dropping in
Thanks
today.
everybody for sticking around. Bye bye.
Nice. Okay, so there we have it, folks. That was a long one.